Hello and good evening. I'm Nubian Queen,
And I'm Nubian King. Good evening.
and this is our welcome to our Court Your Queen.
Yes, this is where we discuss different things in our lives and our marriages. Hopefully, it can help someone to enjoy marriage life as much as we have. I'm not saying it's all roses, but it's been a journey.
So our first week we spoke about family, and we introduced our family, had our children in the video with us, which family, parenting, and then we also spoke on communication. And this week we're going to tackle finances. And this is
We may not get to the whole thing, but just stick with us. We'll continue on because finances is a big topic.
oh yeah, and all these topics is not saying that we're experts in any one of these topics, but we're learning as we go along.
Yes, this is a process.
Okay. So, one thing that we know for sure is that you have to be on the same page as a couple. And even with us being married 32 years, we're not always on the same page, but we're working on it. And some classes that we've taken for finances is Dave Ramsey. Some of you might have taken the course Dave Ramsey.
Financial Peace University.
Financial Peace University. And once you've taken that class, then you're kind of like lifetime members. So you can continue to take the class. And your children can take the class also. Right? A little bit. Go ahead. So what else?
Yeah, you learn quite a few things in there. It changes your concept of spending money, basically. And it opens you up to areas where you may need some help. And first, basically, getting out of that denial zone that we don't have any issues. But when it comes to finances, we all can use a little bit of help.
The one thing that I liked, because we've taken the course not one time, not two times, but at least 3 times. And in the first time we took the course, they revamped it, and they mentioned they have a new version where the husband and wife can take a test to see if you are the free spirit, or the, what was the other one called?
I can't remember, but it was more like
more structured, the nerdy one.
The nerd, yes.
So
that's what it
in
was.
taking that test,
say
geek. So
What nerd?
both of us were in the military. Leave a comment in the comment section and tell us which one of us is the free spirit, which one of us is the nerd. We both were in the military, and Rob still has a lot. Excuse me, Nubian King still has a lot of good qualities about being in the military, and a lot of them came from his father. Waking up early, getting to places on time.
A
lot of structure. So people always say, wow, he must have gotten all those things from being in the military. I'm like, hello, I was in the military too. So those things are just kind of built into you. So he automatically has those things. He still wakes up early in the morning. And I have learned to become a morning person from, there was this book that I read, or I had it on my ebook.
Yeah. Well, sometimes too, when I'm sure you guys may have heard the saying, money doesn't change you; it just basically amplifies who you really are. And so the military basically didn't really change me as much. I was already somewhat structured in that way, and it just basically it flowed through me a lot easier knowing that there was structure.
So on the next episode, we'll come back and tell you which one of us is the free spirit and which one of us is the nerd.
You might be able to guess now, but we'll see.
Okay. All right. So let's see. So there's some other classes that we. Wow. So when taking that Dave Ramsey class, the one other thing that I liked a lot about it was that they teach you to take your money and on paydays, take it and divide it into envelopes. So he had an envelope system. So there are some things, we leave in the account because I like to pay the water bill or the electrical.
Just a lot of
easier to pay it online.
Convenient, basically, to do that online. But he's trying to tell you that wherever your money is, that's where, well, he said basically if you look at your checkbook and see where your money is going, you can basically see how much you're spending in different areas.
And you can see where your heart is, what you spend your money on the most
And
also.
that's also biblical, you know. So where the heart is, that's where you're gonna go, basically. So just changing your attitude about finances first of all. You have to give it a reason. You have to send it to where you want it to go, and putting not a price on it, but giving it a place where it can truly benefit you and your family, and being structured as far as knowing where you're spending and not just spending in the blind. That's one of the reasons why he had it to where you have to have an envelope. Even if you have spending money, you put a certain amount in your envelope, and when that money is gone, well, your spending money is gone. So it teaches you more responsibility in how to structure yourself as far as your spending and all that. We don't have any more credit cards. We got rid of them. We just use our debit cards basically for, you know, purchases or whatever else. But we got rid of all those, and because they can be very hard on your marriage when it comes to that, because most
you have to have
marriages
discipline.
they say that one of the biggest issues is finances, and that causes a lot of people to separate, divorce, that kind of thing. So we don't want that, so we chose to get counseling as far as finances, just to see what we can do better, and we can always do better.
I have to admit though that having at least one credit card, if you're disciplined enough to not see a shiny pair of shoes or a doodad, whatever the sparkle thing is, and that you not spend it, if you're disciplined in that way, then just go ahead and use the credit card. I mean, have one for emergencies, because sometimes if you have to rent a car, or there's some things that you just can't use the cash for.
And that's one of the reasons why we have a debit card too, because you can use that as a credit card, and you know, once it comes out, it comes directly from your account. So that lets you know you can't just spend what you want, because that's your money that you have in your account. When your account is dry, well, that card is dry also. So it teaches you more responsibility, and to be more structured and also discipline in what you're spending on.
So it's good to have an envelope for like groceries. So if you budget out, it's good first of all to have a budget. You know,
budget is the key.
Yes, and to sit down once a week, which we're actually still working on, sitting down together and doing it weekly together. But if
it had to be intentional.
Right, it doesn't have to be intentional. So if you know you're going to spend $150 or $200 a week on food, then make sure you set that aside and put it in your envelope. So when you go shopping, the one thing that he also said that is, when you go to McDonald's or a fast food restaurant, just say your favorite, just name your favorite place, Subway, whatever. And if you take your card and you just swipe it, you spend more. But when you have to physically let go of that cash, you end up spending less. So we've gotten used to, as a community of people or a society, we just take that card and we just slide it across, and sometimes we don't even look at the receipt to know how much we actually spent. So we're trying to teach our children also that if you have an envelope, even when our son who's now 13, when he was younger, and you go in the store and he sees something, he's like, "Can I add that? How much?" I'm like, "Well, how much is it?" And he would tell me how much it is, and I'm like, "Okay, so now how much do you have in your pocket?" And then he would say, "Well," I said, "Okay, well, when you get $7 more, then come back and we'll come back to add to that." And people in the line will look at me like, "Wow, hello, you're a mean mom," but it's actually teaching them the value of a dollar, which is very important. So what else do you have here?
Well, it's when it comes to finances, we just have to be, like I said, intentional about everything. And if you basically put the money where your mouth is, as far as where you spend, you actually start looking at where the money is going, and you realize that you're spending your good earned money on things that you probably really don't need, or you can wait to get. We can be rather impulsive as a society to just buy things because, well, I like that. Yeah, let's get it. You know how I'm not sure if you heard, but the microwave society, everybody wants it now.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want to wait.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can just sit back, take a breath, and say, "Do I really need that?"
Mm-hmm.
Or can I really do without it?
Mm.
Or can I just wait to get it later and just budget it in?
Mm.
It makes a big
I
difference.
love that. Out of the heart, the mouth speaks. So the one thing that's funny is we went to the store today, and this morning I was rushing around for church, and I was trying to find a lint brush. And I know that we have at least 2 or 3 of them in the house, but of course I couldn't find one. So even, I had my son text my husband because he was already at church and couldn't find the lint brush. So afterwards, went to the store and I saw a lint brush. I wasn't really looking for that, but it was like $3.99. So my husband's like, he's like, "Do you really need that? We have like 2 or 3 of them at home." I said, "Yeah, but when we're looking for it, I can't find it." So walked out the store with with a $3.99 lint brush. Couldn't wait to get in the car because here I am, after the fact, I'm wiping down and trying to get all the lint off of this nice little blue velvet skirt that I'm wearing. And so then we get home and he finds 2 or 3 more lint brushes, which I know he said, I know we're going to find it. We're going to bring it back. So I left that one in the car. And then, yes, we do have 2 or 3 more lint brushes. And that's the thing with money, when we don't budget out and when everything in your house does not have a place, which we're working on that. I'm working on that too.
Well, the thing is, too, that's mostly called impulsive buying. And we have to guard ourselves against impulsive buying, because you see it and wow, that looks great, and advertisers do a great job because they make it so appealing. Everything that is out there, it's so appealing, and you can't live without it, but actually you can.
So the other thing that was a good point too to make is that with us in our accounts, he has a separate account that has been set up for his gas and for his coffee or whatever at work. So weekly we'll transfer money over to that account, and won't tell you which one of us started that account. Doesn't really matter. We'll have a guess at the end. But so that's his gas money account, and sometimes you have to do that just to keep the moving and keep everything flowing. So anything else to add to that?
No, and when that money is out, well, I have to budget to make sure I have gas to go back and forth to work, and if it's coffee, I have to take a look at it and say, well, I can get coffee, but I really need the gas, so I'll make sure I have the funds for the gas.
I think the other thing that's important is when you're working on your finances together as a couple, and whichever one, if you overspend or whatever, make sure that you do apologize to the mate and say, okay, I'm sorry, I knew you were saving for something, or we were on the same page with this one thing. So apologizing to each other and not making excuses is very important.
Makes a big difference. Makes a big difference.
Yeah. And that class that we took, it averaged, I think the first time we took it, it was close to, I don't know, 9, how many, 8 weeks, 9 weeks? Well, the last time it was 9 weeks, but before that it was like 13 weeks. So they've kind of condensed it down a bit now. Yeah. But it's still a good class. So if you've never heard of it, go to DaveRamsey.com.
A lot of information. Sometimes it's best to not only take the class but take it again, because there's just so much to soak in. Even though you do have the books and all that, you have to really listen to what they're saying, and it only works if you work it. So if you take the information just like anything else and just put it on the shelf, it's not going to do anything for you. You have to work it. So and that's where just being diligent in your budgeting and just being intentional as far as your spending, your savings, and all that. And he also said too that you tithe, yes, but you also wouldn't have to pay yourself also. And that's the one thing that we didn't realize that we really need to do. You give to God first, but then you also want to pay yourself also, and then you can live off the rest. And that's where the budget comes into, where you can truly see where your money is going and just watch how you're spending, and to realize that this is a progress and it's a process where you have to work through. So you're not going to have all the answers right away. And he even says that in this program. It's going to take you 3 or 4 months or so before you sort of fine tune it So you pay off one bill, and you take that money that you used to pay off one bill,
Snowball
and
effect.
yeah, and you put it on the next bill to pay that one off. So you're always constantly adjusting and readjusting your budget when it comes time for your bills and what you're paying on, and there may be something that comes up sporadically, or something that you didn't think of, so you have to have like an emergency fund uh, in that process for those type of things. Car repairs, which is another thing. And just having, you said
Your
3 to
washing
6
machine,
months
and your
of,
washing machine, your oven, all those
yeah,
things are going to
yeah.
eventually break down. So you might as well have an emergency fund and be
And your
prepared for
emergency
it.
fund, you save up. You start off as little as possible, but you keep adding to that emergency fund to where you get to the point where you have 3 to 6 months worth of your paycheck basically saved up aside, just in your emergency fund, for anything that may happen.
And we're all
Because
still, it's all a work in
life
process.
do happen.
Life does happen. So yeah, that snowball. And the other thing he said about the snowball effect is that you don't want to necessarily start with the highest credit card that you may have. You might want to start with one of the smallest credit cards that you have. Pay that off, and then just take whatever that $30 to $50 you're paying on that one credit card and put it onto the next one, which is called snowballing. And then another thing is, if you can't figure out which one of your the ones to pay off, go with the one that has the highest interest rate. Maybe you could start there, and then just start paying off. Because if you pay the monthly fee on those credit cards, you're never gonna pay it off. It's gonna be like forever.
So you have to add a little, even if it's
Extra.
$5 or $10 extra in that amount every month. You'll pay it off a lot sooner, and you celebrate those small victories where you pay off the one bill and yes, this is done, and you move on. You don't try to go for that big egg in the beginning. You get those little small victories and you work your way up to that point.
Another thing I want to bring up too, we went to Soho, to New York, for a weekend with our kids, our children. We have adult children, and one that's a teenager, and we spent that time, and it was fascinating to see. Walking through Soho, and you have, we got our ice cream in the Italian, what's it called?
Yeah.
Italy, Little Italy. But we also ate some really good food in Chinatown. But to see all the people in that community getting their hair cut, and so they were getting their hair cut, they were eating, they were spending the money, and their money was flipping over in their community. And so that's one thing that's very important is to have a community of people and to spend your money with your community, whatever Christians, whatever it is. So just keeping the money in the community. So that was pretty cool seeing how that worked, and how it was really crowded, and we had a good time. We had a really good time. So some other things I've been following different people, and they talk about building your money, and a little empire. So just basically pulling your money together as a family, and working together. There are different people, but we have more series that we can talk about the different people that are out there that I follow, and they have a structure of how you should, keeping the money in your family and helping each other out, even if it's just having a community fund, so that whenever your children need something, the money is there, and you guys can pull your money and your resources together. So that's our time together as finances. I had a lot more things to talk about, for some reason, I don't know, it's lost in my email. So we'll be prepared for the next time. We'll probably be talking about, I don't know, more things about marriage for the next time, and marriage and intimacy. So those are the other thing that's fun is that we just joined a group of other couples, because iron sharpens iron, and so we've been getting together so far once with them, and just talking about different things concerning marriages, and it's pretty good to hang around with other people who like-minded, and have the same values that you have, and you can see that it's not just the woman, it's not just the man, it's just things that, it's not just me, it's not just him, it's things that all women do and all men do, in a positive way. So that's been fun, and we can do it again tomorrow. So
learning more about each other.
Yes. So thank you for tuning in. Thank you for the subscribers that we have, and until next time.
Take care.
Take care. All right. Peace and blessings.